Church. Today's sermon is with a heavy heart, the heaviest of hearts. I'd like for you to turn to your neighbor and say, "Stop looking at me." We're reading from the book of Hezekiah. Now, Bishop, them pictures from your cell phone somehow got leaked. Is this thing on? You're clearly in the mirror. Oh, I wish I had some help today. You posed and exposed your body. Yes, you did. And that is curl to pain. It leans so hard to the side. And them biker shorts ain't working. Don't wear your clothes so tight. A member of the clergy. Don't wear your clothes so tight. Oh, I wish I could get some help this morning. Now, Bishop. Oh, my goodness, the pictures from your cell phone somehow got leaked. You're clearly in the mirror. You pose, exposing your body. And that is curl. Two things. It leads to the side. And them biker shorts, ain't working. Don't wear your clothes so tight. You're a member of the clergy. Keep on quiet. Don't wear your clothes so tight. Well, now, I'm off the call. Hey, Alpha, call me a couple of chicken wing dinners. Okay, love guys, tea.
You are a sick man.
What? Good morning, church. Today's sermon is with a heavy heart, the heaviest of hearts. I'd like for you to turn to your neighbor and say, "Stop looking at me." We're reading from the book of Hezekiah. Here we go. Now, Bishop, them pictures from your cell phone somehow got leaked. Is this thing on? You're clearly in the mirror. Oh, I wish I had some help today. You posed and exposed your body. Yes, you did. And that is curl to pain. It leans so hard to the side. And them biker shorts ain't working. Don't wear your clothes so tight. A member of the clergy. Don't wear your clothes so tight. Oh, I wish I could get some help this morning. Now, Bishop. Oh, my goodness, the pictures from your cell phone somehow got leaked. You're clearly in the mirror. You pose, exposing your body. And that is curl. Two things. It leads to the side. And them biker shorts, ain't working. Don't wear your clothes so tight. You're a member of the clergy. Keep on quiet. Don't wear your clothes so tight. Well, now, I'm off the call. chicken wing dinners. These pound cake, large iced tea.
You are a sick man.
Hello, you guys. Good afternoon. I had to come back because y'all Just B is always starting trouble. She is always starting trouble, sending me something to be coming back on here talking to y'all and laughing with y'all about, right? So listen, y'all. I hope y'all know who picture this is on the screen. And I know a lot of people, when I put this title to this live, people thought it was going to be one thing, but it's about to be something else. Because we about to get it started up in here, okay? I'm sick of these men thinking that they going to be riding these women because they done made a mistake. They done said something, did something, put something out there, whatever the case may be. And they think they going to ride these women, but they let these men off the hook for shit, right? So I'm about to get after everybody. I am about to get after everybody right here. Hey, Cookie Boom. I'm about to get after all of them, okay? Because on my screen, we have nothing other than former Bishop Eddie Long. And this picture, we all received, the public received this picture because it was part of a scandal where Eddie Long was sending underage boys his pictures. Inappropriate. This one is a little more appropriate, but there was some more inappropriate pictures that the bishop was sending out to young boys. And it required Bishop Long to come and make a public statement on a Sunday morning just like this and declare that he was David and that all of these young boys was Goliath and that he haven't thrown one stone yet because he was trying to defend himself in the sex scandal that he was doing inappropriate and having inappropriate relations with these young boys. Ultimately, Bishop Long ended up paying a settlement out to these boys. And then we never heard from it again. Now, as loud as his declaration was, as loud I wanted to see that lawsuit play out. But we didn't see it play out that way because the church that Eddie Long was pastor of New Birth in Georgia helped to settle the dispute with these young boys and the issues that they had with Bishop Eddie Long. Well, a couple of years after the scandal, Bishop Eddie Long passed away. And there's some speculation, a whole lot of rumor around what was the cause of his death. We publicly saw him emaciated and looking very sick. And he was trying experimental and investigational treatments over in other places. And they did not work. And unfortunately, he passed away. And so his son thought that he was going to succeed him and that he would become pastor of New Birth. Well, that is not what happened. Bishop Eddie Long's son did preside over New Birth for a short period of time. But New Birth decided that they wanted a new pastor. And so they started on a search and a hunt for a new pastor. And there is a man by the name of Dr. Jamal Bryant who thought that this was a great opportunity for him in a new place, in a new ministry, and to leave a place that started to have less respect for him. Dr. Jamal Bryant is from here in Baltimore, Maryland. And in Baltimore, Maryland, Dr. Bryant started to lose some respect because of some things he had going on, some indiscretions and a whole lot of shit that he had going on here. He had founded the Empowerment Temple Church. His father was the pastor of Bethel AME. And much like Eddie Long's son, Dr. Jamal Bryant thought that he was going to take over from his dad of Bethel AME. And he got very upset when the late pastor Frank Reed took over and did an amazing job for many years at that church, right? But Jamal had grew like a little bit of animosity because of that, because he thought that he should have been the one that had that job, right? And so like I said, he had a lot of things going on here. He started to lose a lot of respect here in the city of Baltimore as a result of his indiscretions and his greed and misappropriating of funds and his treatment of women, his womanizing ways. And so he saw a new opportunity to go to Atlanta and become pastor of New Birth, right? And so he landed himself in New Birth. And we all know that we see his ex-wife, Giselle Bryant, on Housewives of Potomac. Her family, even prior to her marrying Jamal Bryant, her family was a pillar in the community, okay? And they were philanthropists, and she has a well-known, well-established name for herself in and of her own right locally, right? And so, but people got to see more of Giselle with Housewives of Potomac. And so she joined over with Jamal for a little while over in New Birth when he first went and he was installed as pastor there. Her and her children were present, and she sat and acted in position as first lady. Despite the fact that I think he had just come off of a relationship with Tweet, the singer, and he had made some promises and prospects of marrying her, but that didn't come into fruition. And so Giselle stepped back in for a little while in order to play the part and play the role, right? And so since then, and even before then, Jamal Bryant has been very vocal in the community. A lot of people of color within the faith community have looked to him in order for him to spearhead different movements. We just saw him take credit for a Target boycott that was initiated by a Black woman. But we saw him get the credit for that. And so we constantly see him out here in the forefront of things, right? And spearheading things and promoting community and talking about how important community is, right? But there is a subject that he does avoid. Before we get to the subject that he avoids, though, I want to bring us to why we are talking about him today. Okay, because we are talking about him because of some comments and some information that he released in relation to Cheyenne Bryant, who is somebody that he did platform at one particular time. And I guess there was some information found out that she was not as degreed as she alleged to be. And so now people have been making a big, huge deal about it. And so recently, Jamal released information from an email that he received about a cease and desist in discussing Cheyenne Bryant and her situation. And that sparked people to begin another conversation about it all over again. And Dr. Mark Lamont Hill did an interview that Just V urged me to watch this morning, and I did watch it. And I have some opinions on both of these brothers as a result of what is happening, because I have some criticisms, and I want to know, when are we going to hear another conversation? Why are both of these two brothers that are obviously pointing out what they think that this woman has done wrong and what she needs to do and all of this and all of that, when are they going to come and have a conversation? There's a conversation I would like to see the two of them have that I'm very interested in the two of them having. And so I want to first take us to what sparked this Cheyenne Bryant conversation to come back. So we are going to listen to Jamal tell us what transpired in the last couple of days that got him having to come forward, and he just couldn't resist making a statement. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, let me remove that. Okay, we're gonna add Jamal to the stage. Okay. Let's play. Hold on.
Over a month ago, I came to you and apologized for platforming Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I felt I had a responsibility considering my sister is the former president of the American Psychological Association, one of the youngest to ever hold that position. Not soon after that, I received an email, a cease and desist, not to mention her name or to speak to the controversy. I scanned down to the bottom, and it was not from a lawyer, not from an attorney, not anybody who was barred. It was from Cheyenne Bryant herself. I said, I'm going to walk away. I do not want to be a part of black on black crime. So I let it go, never addressed it, never mentioned it again until I received this email on yesterday from Dr. Jaquel Pitts, who is serving as the president of Indiana Southwest Christian University, who said to me in writing that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has just received her PhD in theocentric psychology. I did a quick Google search. Indiana, the whole state, does not recognize Indiana Southwestern Christian University is not registered. The president claimed that the degree is in theocentric psychology. Again, I didn't even use Claude or ChatGPT. Google, the cheapest one, says that theocentric psychology shifts a person from ego to universal thought. I don't even know what that means. The president goes on to say that they cannot provide any transcripts. I send a one-line email. Who are y'all accredited by? And he sent me back this. Accreditation Religioso. I don't know what this means. But ladies and gentlemen, the last line that I've highlighted for you is no transcript can be provided. I'm not going back and forth with y'all. The president of Indiana Southwest Christian University doesn't even have a college email. Jaquel Pitts is on Gmail. So if you want the transcript, email him directly. And maybe he'll be able to give you answers I'm not able to provide. Y'all, let's shut the case on Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. The only robes I want to see people in are the 500 kids who are trying to go to Howard, an accredited school. God bless you. I shouldn't even have.
All right, y'all. So that is what sparked all of this new conversation around Cheyenne Bryant. And so I started to listen to Mark Lamont Hill because we're going to listen to a little bit of that. Hey, just people. We are going to listen to a little bit of the interview from Mark Lamont Hill because I'm going to call both of these brothers to the floor, right? Somebody send it to them. Somebody send this to them. I want to call both of these brothers to the floor, right? Because there is an elephant in the room. There's an elephant in the room. And they want to keep on talking about this lady. But this man, Jaquel Pitts, he is a troll. He is a troll. And they didn't even need to come and comment on this. He said this of his own volition. He did all of this. I don't know whether he's trying to get some recognition. I don't know what this all about, but he is a self-proclaimed comedian. He let me see if I can so he was a foster kid, right? He was a foster kid and he was able to make it, out of foster care. He made it out of foster care, enrolled himself into college. He did attend college where he did get a degree. I don't know how many degrees he has acquired, but he was actually, let me share a one little clip with you guys. I want to share something with you guys because he's not, he's rather interesting. Let me see. All right, let me share this with y'all. This is him. He thought that he had the potential to go into the NFL, right? Give me 1 second. Let me move. add this to the stage. Okay, so he thought he had the potential to go to the NFL at one given time. So this is him. This is some highlights from when he played in the game where he had NFL scouts scouting him out. Okay, y'all. So that's enough of that. So I want y'all to watch this other video of him, right? I don't know what this is about, but he calls himself, he's a self-proclaimed comedian, right? And I don't know, I think he trolls people. I really do, because there is a lawsuit, and I don't know all the particulars of the lawsuit, but after we watch this next little video clip of him, and this is going to be before we watch the piece of the Mark Lamont Hill interview, I I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about some of what the lawsuit, he filed this lawsuit, and I think he just trolls things and trolls people and things like that. And so I don't think that any of that stuff, I said that Mark and this man are trolling together. Yeah, something is up, right? But the thing that I think that is bothering me is that they are bringing back this because of what Jamal did. And while Jamal is talking about responsibility, I want to get him while he's interested in talking about responsibility, right? Like, I think while he's ready to talk about responsibility, it's some responsibilities that he really should be talking about, okay? Like, he's negating some of his responsibility. Okay. And so to try to continue to bring up things in relation to this woman and her indiscretions and what she may have done wrong or didn't reveal, or trying to shame her, and knowing damn well that that lady didn't even send you that stuff, that somebody else did that, but you use this as an opportunity to bring that subject back up and to bring it back to the forefront. But you have an elephant in the room that you're refusing to have a conversation about. And I think it would be interesting to see Dr. Mark Lamar Hill have this kind of particular conversation with Dr. Jamal Bryant. And I'm going to say what it is later, but let's just right now look at this from Jaquil Pitts. I don't know what this is all about, what he's doing. But he had hopes of going to the NFL. Obviously he didn't make it to the NFL. But this video, I think, was when he was attempting to, I don't know, like make himself market himself to the NFL or something. I don't know. So let's just take a look at this real quick. Wait a minute, you guys. I don't know if y'all. Wait a minute. Let me start it over. Hold on.
is Jaquel Pitts. I'm a 2016 NFL Draft prospect. I declared for the 2015 NFL Draft as an underclassman. I'm also the first person in NFL history to be eligible for the NFL Draft twice for 2 consecutive years, despite being not selected in the previous year's draft. My daily grind consists of focusing on my online studies at the Mayville State University and also training with quarterback guru who most recently trained Jameis Winston on a daily basis, focusing on route running, focusing on running back activities, and focusing on other related football activities as I prepare for the National Football League. Thank you for your time. Take care.
Okay, y'all. So that is I don't know what that was about. I guess that was a commercial. I guess if he ever made it to the NFL, he was going to use that in the documentary. I don't know, but he never made it. And so he trolls everything. I mean, I've seen videos like me trying to figure out who he is after looking at this interview, right? He's gone to the city council and trolled like he's a troll. And so I believe that I'm gonna assume that this particular situation, and I'll post the court document after we finish this live. I didn't want to go through and read it because it's pretty lengthy and it's a lot going on in the document, and I wanted to kind of like take this live in a different direction. So I didn't want to read what the nature of the lawsuit was, but there was an answer because he was requesting, I guess, for his court fees to be waived for being indigent in this lawsuit. Well, the funny thing about it was that he was actually trying to sue the clerk's office in California where he lives because they refused to enter his will. He was the testator. And so he claims that to have, I guess, like all of this money that he generates from his investments. And so he attempted to enter the will into the clerk's office, right? Well, the clerk office, I guess, said we can't do this because this can only be entered by an executor. The testator can't enter this. And so he was telling them like this is a violation of his religious rights and all. So he tried to sue and take them to court for refusing and saying that they were infringing on his religious rights to enter the will of his own accord and not have to have an executor. But in him filling out the application, he wanted the court to waive all of the fees, right? And so when he filled out the application to have the court waive the fees, the application was approved based off of how he completed the application to waive the fees. But then the judge is like, wait a minute, because how you filled out the application, yes, you qualify to have your court fees waived. But based on the content of your lawsuit, you don't qualify for your court fees to be waived. I mean, he was saying he had stocks and money and all of this investments in all of these different places. And this was part of the lawsuit and why him wanting to have the clerk file that will with the clerk's office. And it was just that he wasn't following the proper protocol about getting an executor. They were saying that based off of what he presented as part of his portfolio, that he needed an executor in order to submit that to the clerk's office. And so, needless to say, like the filing is so crazy, but I will post it up for you guys to look at it because it's crazy. But I felt like that was another instance where he decided to troll once again. I don't know if he intentionally was really wanting to file that will with the clerk's office or if he did that just as an opportunity to troll, right? But he is a self-proclaimed comedian, right? And so this man, he sent this to Jamal Bryant, and he's going to say in this interview with Mark Lamont Hill that he said that and he did this because he felt like that being as though Jamal Bryant is a man of the cloth, that he should have went a little bit more easy on Cheyenne Bryant, that he shouldn't have made such a public spectacle of her and did all of these things to her, right? So that, I think that was part of his motivation for sending him this, but I don't think that Cheyenne had anything to do with what this man sent over to Jamal Bryant. So let's listen to a little bit of the interview between Mark Lamar Hill and Jaquil Pitts. Okay. Wait a minute.
Like secular universities that offer.
Okay, hold on. I don't know if
array.
you guys heard that little. Okay.
We live, so I'm working out the light situation as we talk.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, what is the institution that you are president of?
Indiana Southwest Christian University is an institution that I am the president of. It's a private Christian university. It's not like secular universities that offer a vast array of subjects like business and biology. It only offers subject matters that pertains to fields in ministry, spiritual counseling, theology, Christian education, church administration, sacred music, Christian art, canon law, church communications, spirituality, and social work. So it's Christ-based. It's not a secular-based institution.
Okay, now I want to stop that right there, y'all, because I want to say this. This sounds absolutely ridiculous, but let me tell you something. Most of y'all pastors, if you have a pastor, this is exactly what kind of degree they got. Most of them have a degree or even an honorary degree from a school similar to the one that he is describing. Okay? Some of y'all pastors ain't passed high school, but they got doctor in their name because they have either a degree that they claim they earned from an institution, just like this one that he's describing, or they got an honorary degree from an institution, just like the one that this man is describing. Okay? So, you might want to, if you have an issue with him issuing Dr. Cheyenne one of these degrees, you might want to check and see what about your pastor too, because they probably got one from somewhere similar, a similar institution. Okay.
Continue, please. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So we only offer religious-based degrees, and we are recognized by the state of Indiana. I believe I've sent your team official documentation from the state of Indiana recognizing our university. So Dr. Bryant's false claims that we're not registered or recognized in the state, I just want to provide education. So a religious institution or a private Christian university can apply for religious exemption that allows them to operate without any formal secular accreditation. And in regard to receiving federal student aid funds, there are certain institutions that choose not to participate in that process, and so they go by a process of religious exemption. So what we have is official religious exemption from the state of Indiana, which we provided a copy of the letter to your team. If you don't have it, I'll resend it.
Yeah, I have it right here. Let me pull up this letter, because as I'm trying to zoom it in for my audience here. But as I'm reading said letter, it explains what religious exemption is, and it says that it will allow organizations and institutions to be exempted if they have a clearly religious nature, which you're saying you all are. The one thing that it seemed to me, though, that came up at the end of the letter, if I'm not mistaken, is that they will now review your case to see if they will give you the exemption. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. What the letter, based on my interpretation, stated that if there's anything that modifies with the curriculum that we are disseminating, there will be a further review, because the curriculum has to be strictly religious in nature in order for us to receive the religious exemption.
Okay. So as of now, you're saying that the organization has been granted a religious exemption and is accredited by the Indiana's Commissioner of Higher Education.
What I'm stating is that we have been granted a religious exemption by the state of Indiana, as verified in the letter. In regard to accreditation, we have accreditation, but it is not recognized by the United States Department of Education. There is no actual mandate. There is actually no mandate of accreditation. We are not mandated to have accreditation recognized by the United States Department of Education. There's also religious institutions that specifically object to secular accreditation. But we do have accreditation, but it's not recognized by the United States Department of Education. However, there is no law mandating accreditation.
Okay, understood. So you are not accredited, but you are exempted from those by the accredited organization, and you're standing in that as a principal choice, not as like a we're not good enough to be accredited. You're saying we're not based on our religious nature.
No, we are accredited, but we're not accredited by secular accreditation that's recognized by the United States.
By the people that accredit. So just so our audience understands, I'm not trying to nitpick and then I'll move on. Most universities are accredited by certain bodies. Y'all aren't accredited by those bodies. Y'all are accredited by somebody else.
Those are called, I'm very familiar with that. They're classified as regional accrediting bodies. We're not accredited by regional accrediting bodies for two reasons: due to our religious beliefs and because there's actually no law mandating accreditation.
Okay, fair enough.
But we are accredited by a religious form of accreditation that accreditates religious degrees.
Understood. I have here a copy.
Now, like I'm telling y'all, this is not what people kind of intended as far as Dr. Cheyenne's credentials, but this is actually how a lot of people's pastors are credentialed. Exactly this way. Now, their institution maybe didn't erect in a month. I think this guy is gonna say that it's only been a month since this institution has been operating, right? So they didn't erect in a month, right? But this is how a lot of pastors are accredited. You have Yale, Harvard Law School, Princeton, all of those theological seminaries. But a lot of these pastors, they don't attend those schools. They have attended a school. 2 months. Okay, yeah, 2 months just be right. I shorted him a month, okay? So a lot of them didn't erect in a 2-month period. But this is the type of institution that a lot of them have their quote-unquote doctorate degree from. And this is the thing, you guys. I think overall, with this man is trolling and based off of what he said about Jamal Bryant and having some concern about how he's come towards Cheyenne Bryant is a result of her, public embarrassment for what she's done, that he doesn't approve of how Jamal Bryant dealt with this situation. And so he attempted to say, okay, I'm going to listen, y'all follow me, y'all go with me, all right, y'all. He is attempting to say, listen, I'm going to be this lady's covering and I'm going to go erect a school and I'm going to give her a degree. And then I'm going to send it to him. And then now she's going to be degreed because he knows and Jamal knows and Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, and a lot of them other people know that this is how a lot of their Black prominent pastors have received a degree, the same goddamn way that this man is attempting to try to cover this lady from this public embarrassment and shame that she's experienced because of this. And so I think what the man is trying to say that instead of Jamal publicly embarrassing her, he could have found a better way, I guess, maybe to try to cover her in her embarrassment and help her see a way out of it, right? I think that is all the reason of the trolling and why he did what he did. But it caused like this thing now, and everybody's bringing back up what Cheyenne Bryant did once again, right? But I find it interesting. Y'all go over, watch the rest of the interview or with Dr. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill on Night School. I love him, okay? So this is no indictment on him. But there is something I would love for him to do, though. There's something I would love for him to be involved in. And it's in regards to Dr. Jamal Bryant, right? Because while they are discussing and talking about responsibility and accountability and what people should be responsible and held accountable to, there are some things that Dr. Jamal Bryant should be held accountable to. And it seems like the world stage, when it comes to him, sometimes overlooks it and they are not discussing it. And Dr. Lamont Hill, I think Mark Lamont Hill, he is very well capable of having this conversation with Dr. Jamal Bryant, because Dr. Mark Lamont Hill was part of a cult before, right? And he was part of a cult where the man that was leader of his cult, of the cult that he was involved in sexual inappropriate behavior. He was making a whole bunch of children all over the place and doing all of these different things. And so he has experience with this firsthand and probably knows how to really tackle this subject when it comes to Dr. Jamal Bryant, right? And so I want to play for you a piece of Joe Budden's podcast when Dr. Mark Lamont Hill was on there and his cult ties were discussed in that podcast. Give me 1 second. You said, boy. Wait a minute, hold on. Hold on, I gotta make sure I got the right one. Do I have it up there? Okay.
Yeah. We used to call us survivors. A lot of jokes about Michael Jackson, right? But he was running behind Dr. York all them years. Oh. You can't do that. You can't make fun of the man who was accused of when you follow the man who was actually doing it.
Imani and Mark Lamont Hill go at it again, but this time it got even a little more diabolical, and let's see where this goes. As Mark Lamont Hill was making fun of Imani's love for Michael Jackson, he would say that Michael Jackson's fan base or supporters should be called survivors. And then that's when Imani would pop the trunk on him and say, you be making fun of Michael Jackson and all of his past allegations, but you follow the man, Dr. York, who actually is incarcerated for damn near forever for the same type of allegations that Michael Jackson faced, yet Michael Jackson was never convicted for any of those allegations. And this is getting really, really up there as far as intensity, because I know many people like to say this is just jokes and the banter of the show. This is couched in really serious claims, probably the most serious claims anyone could face, as protecting children is a big deal. So we'll have to see if this doesn't escalate into something serious. I've been good at predicting when jokes go too far, and I think this is a joke that may go too far and end up in another level of somebody having to leave the show for an episode or a fight that gets cut out, some type of argument. But it's important to remember that Mark Lamont Hill's time in the cult has been previously brought up by Imani.
You in a cult, Mark.
Yeah.
And we just let that breeze by.
No, we just absolutely did not let it breeze by.
Degree,
And even Queens Flip.
I lived in a house. At 12, I wasn't homeless in a cult.
So it's something that everybody on the show has in the back of their mind ready to use on Mark, but they never went all the way. And I do wonder what is going to be the final level. Like, is somebody going to come up with the docket of Dr. York and just read everything that he was accused of and then say stuff about whatever happened in that cult as the final level of this? Is that the end stage showdown that is headed there? Plus, we also have to look back at the interesting history in the back and forth between Imani and Mark Lamont Hill. This right here is when he suggested that Imani was a deadbeat dad after Imani pointed out that Mark was holding the doll in a certain way.
As you hold that toy like that, this needs to be taken
This
serious.
is how you hold children when you take care of them.
But that wasn't the only time Mark would insult Imani. He even tried to suggest that Imani was, I don't know, messed with as a kid by saying, hey, where on the doll did they touch you?
See what I do?
Show me where. Just show us where.
You know how violent he gets.
See,
Don't do
no,
this.
I'm not giving him the doll.
And he even had another joke where he said, see, Imani, even somebody else got signed to be an R&B artist and you did it.
They said he got signed to Dallas Austin's label. So, nigga, come out, put your project out.
See, even he got signed.
Oh,
God. Damn, yo.
Now, this is one of the key tactics that Mark Lamont Hill likes to use, the power of suggestion. He doesn't outright say anything about you. What he will do is he will ask a question or make a statement that isn't necessarily a front on attack. So he'll do something like, oh, you really think you're a team player?
And see, Just B, I think you're absolutely right. It is much easier for highly intelligent people to get involved in that type of behavior because they are trained to follow like what they think is a higher source of thinking, a higher form of intelligence, always searching for something that is more enlightening. When you think about the idea of the Gnostics, that's why I like to study Christian mysticism, because it shows people who have that way of thinking, even prior to Enlightenment thinkers. A lot of people look at the Enlightenment thinkers, but first century Christians, Gnostics, they felt like that. They felt like that they had a form of understanding and knowledge that everyone else did not have. And it was one of the main reasons why they kind of did not want them to attend the conference in Nicaea, because all of the other groups felt like these niggas think they better than every damn body else. They think they smarter than everybody else. And they looked at them as a cult. I mean, you had other Christian sects who were looked at as cults in the first century as well. Even mainstream Christianity in the first century was looked at as being cult-like. But when you look at the Gnostics, they really embodied those qualities. And so a lot of the cults that you see embody the qualities of the early Christian mystics who thought that they had a higher sense of enlightenment, a higher sense of thinking, right? And that's why you're right. It is absolutely easier for them to get caught into these type of scenarios. I think what I'm trying to show is the contradictory pattern of Mark Lamont Hill, how he contradicts things, right? Because while he is playing and discussing the issue and what Dr. Jamal Bryant has brought to the forefront, Dr. Jamal Bryant has an issue that he refuses to address. So it is interesting that Dr. Jamal Bryant thought that it was necessary that he come forward, and it was his duty, that he was responsible and accountable to speak on this issue with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, or Cheyenne Bryant, however people want to refer to her now, that he thought that he would be in derelict of his duty if he did not come and speak about it. But you are refusing to take up your duty as a father. And people are allowing you to get away with not discussing it. So while you're, again, bringing attention and highlights to this woman and her indiscretions and what you feel like she did wrong and what she presented wrong to the people, why are you refusing to talk about your own indiscretions, your own wrong that has been highlighted? And that you will, Tasha K on Father's Day just ran a what is it called? A video on the situation. Again, we watched in court a video about child support, a child support video, right? We saw that on the internet where you refuse to even attend court. You say you refuse to attend court because you were away with your wife, y'all had just gotten married. The judge didn't approve that, and you could have ultimately ended up being held in contempt of court for not showing up. No, you did not want to show up in court because you did not want the potential of you and your voice in a hearing discussing you neglecting your child. And I'm not talking about financially. There is some financial neglect, and I want to discuss that as well, right? Some people don't think so because they feel like the amount of money that this woman is receiving, that's enough for her to take care of the child. They look at it that way. But there's some extenuating circumstances that come with this child as well. And he did not want to show up in court because it didn't have nothing to do, in my opinion, with him being away somewhere. It had to do with him not wanting his voice potentially being blasted over social media with that hearing, and him basically people hearing him say he wants nothing to do with his son. That's why he didn't want to show up in that court. Right? So while everybody, and see, when it comes to, because the next thing I was going to show was Dr. Mark Lamont Hill talking with Bryant McKnight. He called Bryant McKnight to the floor on this issue, neglecting and abandonment of his adult kids, right? But you have Jamal Bryant, who has this autistic child that the mother is struggling with. Clearly, she discusses it in the child support hearing. It talks about the struggle that she's having and trying to make sure that she's able to care for him properly, right? So the question then becomes, well, because so many people were able to try to come up with so many excuses of why Jamal Bryant is not properly, you said, wait, we need a backstory for the son. I don't know about this. Okay, so I'm going to play a clip. Let's go to that. Let's go to that now. Because I was going to, let me just show you guys. I want to show you real quick that I want to show y'all the website just really quick of the cult that I'm mixing everything all up. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill was a part of, because the website is still up. There are still followers of this man to this day. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I just wanted to show y'all that just in case for anybody who wants to go do any additional looking at this particular cult that he was a part of with Dr. York, do any type of research on it. The ministry, the cult website is still up to this day. Give me 1 second. Okay. So here is where you can find the ministry, and you still see Dr. York's name is tagged at the end. Dr. York's name is still tagged and attached to this website. He is in jail for lots of sex crimes while he was the leader of this cult. But to this day, there are still people who follow this, who still go along with this. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill talks about how he still kept the tattoo from when he was in the organization. He hasn't removed it. He says it's no big deal, but he has not removed that, but he still has that. And like I said, we saw there's an interview where Dr. Mark Lamont Hill calls Bryant McKnight to the floor in relation to him not taking care of his adult sons or disowning his adult sons, right? And so we know that Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is capable of doing so, right? And so rather than him sit here and continue this campaign in order to taunt this woman about her indiscretion, about her wrongdoing, about her public embarrassment, he could be calling Dr. Jamal Bryant in and having a conversation with him about his neglect of his autistic son that he had and does not see does not interact with, that he agrees to the court-ordered child support. He does, from what the mother is saying, he does not provide anything above the court-ordered child support. And this child needs a lot of care, right? And sometimes due to the child support laws in a particular state, you might be limited to only receiving what you make. Hey, Michelle, how are you? What you make. We saw that situation happening with Daphne Joy, right? When Daphne Joy tried to take 50 Cent back to court in order to get more money from him because she was not okay with the $40,000 a month that he was paying her, right? This is prior to, I think, her getting involved in this relationship with Diddy, which is why she ended up having to go do hotel nights, because she had to find now some other way, I guess, to try to make money, because she gypped her own self out of money. So 50 Cent was paying her $40,000 a month for child support, and she went to him and told him she needed more. She needed to make more money than that, right? And so as a result, 50 Cent, I'll say, okay, I will, take me to court. And they take it to court, and she gets cut $35,000 in child support, because where they live, where they went to court, you are only entitled to receive basically what you make. So whatever the mother is making in order to like care for the home, then the judge will, the judge, or him or her, is not necessarily looking at how much the individual makes. This is in certain states. Certain states, we don't see that rule. And we see these celebrities paying a whole bunch of money, right? But in certain states, they are only required to match your income in order to maintain this a lifestyle for the child, depending on who the custodial parent is. And so that's what ended up happening. You said you didn't know it was reduced, but yeah, I knew it was. Yeah, it was reduced because, well, the reason why it was reduced, is because 50 Cent was voluntarily paying her the $40K a month. But then she went to him and told him that was not enough. And they had a dispute. And you know how petty he is. And so he's like, all right, well, take me to court. And so they end up in court. And I think she, in her mind, thought, oh, it's for sure I'm about to get a whole bunch of money. And that is not what happened. That is not what happened. She walked out of there with like a little bit, I think over $5K. And that was why. And so I believe that because Jamal, so I believe the custody hearing between Jamal and his son's mom started in Georgia, but she now resides in Texas. But I think everything was finalized in the state of Georgia. And so she was awarded, but she's getting like a little over $2,000 a month. But she's getting that caring for this autistic child that does have a lot of behavioral issues. And so people were able to try to come up with all kinds of excuses of why Jamal is not taking care of this child. They blame it on the mom, and oh, she does this and she's crazy and she's this and she's that, and I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it either, and blah, 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 blah. But none of that is an excuse. Jamal Bryant, if this were the case, could go get custody of his child. Like the response is not to not have anything to do with your child in this situation. You said, I'm really, really curious as to why Miami wasn't doing hotel nights, but Kim Porter did. Yeah, I maybe he just hadn't eased her into it yet. And maybe just be also because maybe Young Miami was already liberal in her sexual experiences. And so to her, it wasn't really exploitation. It's something that she naturally participates in. And so maybe there were some things that she was doing that she's not discussing and it's not being brought out because of her own liberal sexual experiences. You said, I can't imagine telling someone that 40 isn't enough. 10, I can see. How even 20, but 40, no way. Who's coming up with excuses? A lot of people. So probably, yes, a lot of church people. It's probably a lot of church people. But anybody who wants to justify Jamal Bryant not having anything to do with this child and doing things the way that he's doing, they are coming up with excuses. I want to, before we watch the video, to give background to the situation with Jamal Bryant and his son. that he is neglecting, that I wish that Dr. Mark Lamont Hill would call him in for an interview and have a conversation with him about that, because I think that he's the perfect person to interview him about this. He has experience with cult activity, cult behavior. What Jamal Bryant was doing at the time that this son was conceived was cultish. And he continues to participate in a pattern of cult-like behaviors, right? In addition to that, I think that Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is the perfect champion for this, because he called Brian McKnight to the floor about his adult children. So if you were able to be a champion and a superhero for these adult boys who were being neglected by their father, then I know that you had what it takes in order to call Dr. Jamal Bryant to the floor about his still underage child who he is failing and who he is not doing anything to care for. Because providing child support and a couple of $1,000s, that's not helping anything. Especially even if you had a child who did not face the challenges that this young Black male child faces. We hear Dr. Jamal Bryant talk all of this community and all of these things about not neglecting your children and what to teach your children from his pulpit. And we hear it over and over again, but he is neglecting his own duty. And I would like for someone like Dr. Mark Lamont Hill to call him to the floor about this issue and demand that he give a response and stop ignoring whenever it's brought up. And so really quick, before we get into the background on that situation with Jamal Bryant and his son, I want to play something that Jamal Bryant says directly from his mouth, and something that he warns Black parents. Take a listen.
Malcolm X put it this way: it's a poor slave that leaves the education of their children in the hands of their oppressor. Before they go back to school, educate them, let them read, stretch their minds, enroll them in the YouTube universe. Let them learn something that is beyond the curriculum. When you do what is required, you'll only get what is expected. I want you to have more than that. And I want your children to have more than that. Malcolm X put it this.
All right? That comes from the horse's mouth. It's a poor slave. It's a poor slave to leave the education of your children in the hands of the oppressor. That is what he's doing with his son. So he must be equating himself to a poor slave. But that's not how he's presenting himself out here to the public. Right? And so I would love for someone like Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, who ended up in a cult because of some abandonment and neglect that he experienced from his own parents. I would like for him to sit down and have a real conversation with Dr. Jamal Bryant instead of him taking the time to troll a woman about her public embarrassment and shame and participating in it with Dr. Jamal Bryant, right? And so now let's take a look at and go over this commentary in relation to Dr. Jamal Bryant and how he is not taking his responsibility serious. He thought that it would rob the people if he did not come and share that piece of information about someone who was trolling him when it came to Cheyenne Bryant. But he does not think that he needs to be responsible and accountable in order to invest into the life of his own child. And you guys, that's why I titled this live Bryant versus Bryant. Because this is an indictment on Jamal Bryant against his own son. Right? What we are seeing, like, what you think is important and what you need to be accountable and responsible to, that you needed to come out and speak out about this woman and about what lies she may have told, and now you feel responsible because you feel like you platformed her. Well, you should feel even more responsible when you put your semen in someone else and produce a whole human that you're not being accountable and responsible for. When are we going to get that conversation? That's what I would like to hear you be candid about. That's the conversation I want to hear. Hold on, you guys. Oops. Hold on. I got to get it up. Let me. Okay.
I wanted to lay hands on you so that you know the safety of a father's love.
Latoya Odom.
Tasha K.
Are you Jamal Bryant, the preacher, the minister, the fornicator? Is he your baby daddy?
He is.
Is he a present father?
Never has been.
There is no secret that Pastor Jamal Bryant has a lot of children. There's also no secret that there was some infidelity during his marriage and he had a child during the marriage. Well, that's the child I want to talk about today. Tasha K sat down with Latoya Odom to speak about the relationship that Jamal Bryant has with his son. Now, she only put this short clip out because she's going to do a full interview on her page. So if you want to watch the interview, you have to go subscribe. It will drop on Father's Day. But I'm going to talk about a little bit of the history between Pastor Jamal Bryant and Latoya Odom and some other things that I have seen Pastor Jamal Bryant put up about being a father. So before I get into the clips, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. I'm not charging you anything to subscribe. This is not Netflix, okay? And like this video so that other people can join the conversation because the algorithm will push it out. Make sure that you shop at CorgenHair.com for your healthy hair care products. I am the founder and owner of the brand, and the best way to support me is by supporting my business. Now let's get into the clips.
How did you meet Mr. Bryant?
He found me on MySpace. This is how old this is. He befriends me on MySpace, and then I start looking into all of his little profiles. Like, oh, he's married. He just asked me to be his massage therapist. So I'm trying to figure out the 2 and 2, like, what is going on? And he was like, well, I'm going through.
Yo, wait a minute. I got to stop, y'all. Tasha K and her faces and the stuff that she does is crazy. So initially, I guess the story that was floated around was like that they met each other at like a church convention or something. But now the true nature and how they met one another is really coming out. And so now we find out, because originally for years, people thought that this meetup happened at like a church convention where she had like, I don't know if you all ever have been to church conventions, but if you have, you know that they generally like have all of these tables out there where they might be selling things. They might be selling robes for clergy and choir. They might be selling different books. They had different products. You can purchase like a table in order for you to be able to sell whatever it is that you sell. And so people thought that this was like how they met up with one another. But now we are finding out that this was an online connection, that this originally initiated online.
Through a divorce. He's like, I want to get a massage. Come to the hotel. I'll pay you whatever. And I'm going to church tonight. This is when it gets crazy. He said I seduced him.
You massaged?
Yeah, I massaged him.
Naked?
Next thing I know, clothes coming off. So we have sex.
Protected?
No. Louisiana people say, you know how you can tell there's alligators in the water? Go and test the water. Is it wet? The alligator's in the water. So you know I'm fertile. I just told you. So you came to the water wet. With no condom, no nothing.
He nutted in you.
I got pregnant on the first try.
There has been child support paid to you.
The last payment I received was $96.
Able to make contact with Mr. Bryant?
Now look, y'all. Now listen to this, because I want to be transparent and clear, right? She does not understand how this child support thing works. So let me lay that foundation first. That's why I said that this might really be a situation where maybe Jamal, the child, would be best in the custody of Jamal and not with the mama. She does have some issues, and she is kind of struggling caring for the child. Or at least this is according to her in this court hearing. She talks about it. And so it probably would work like in the best interest of the child for him either to be in close proximity to Jamal or Jamal to take custody of the child or something. But the thing is that Jamal is doing nothing to intervene as it relates to the care of his son. And that is the thing that I have an issue with. Some people want to overlook the issue because they say, oh, he's paying this $2,000 in child support. I don't care about that. In this hearing, this mother identifies some other things that he probably is better equipped to help this child with. And considering that this is his only son, because at least according to what we know, we only see him publicly with the 4 daughters. This is his only son. Why wouldn't you want to do what you need to do in order to care and make sure that your son is getting the best of everything? Because it gets in the way of what it is, your public persona, of what it is you're trying to do. Like, I don't know what this is about. And I think that that's why somebody like Dr. Mark Lamont Hill would be he's very well educated, equipped, and trained to have this conversation, to get down to the bottom of what is it? Why is it that you avoid this child? Why is it that you are not trying to, if you feel like that the relationship between you and the mom is so volatile that you all can't figure out a co-parenting situation with one another, why aren't you utilizing the courts in order for you to be able to make sure that your child has the best outcome that he can, right? I think that that's a conversation that could be facilitated by Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. And when it comes to that, why don't you maybe see if you can get him to sit down with Miss Odom? That would be a great show. I would love to see that. I'm sure she's willing. Because, I mean, she's trying to get him into court several times. He continues to avoid. And he avoids court. And he tells them, I'll pay whatever it is you all want me to pay. Just, I can't show up. And he adds all of these reasons of why he can't show up to court. Right? So what we are about to watch is one of those particular times, right? But I think the reason why she only got $96, that is not the amount of the child support, you guys. It is over, I think, $2,000. And I think here in this clip, the judge is going to say it. But I think maybe while her last payment might have been late and then might have only been $96 is because there was some confirmation that he had paid like a whole bunch of money ahead. And so they are probably like extracting. She probably got one payment where it was a huge lump sum of money. And then now it's being deducted because of the payment. Like he overpaid. So now that's probably why she got that check. So I just want to let you all know there are some things about this lady. She is not honest about everything. She is not, or if it might not be honesty, she might not understand. I don't know what it is, but it's something going on to where she cannot comprehend what the judge is trying to say to her. And y'all are probably about to see some of that in the clip that's about to get played.
I did reach out. I wasn't able to reach him directly, though. But I sent him an email. I sent him the Zoom information. I tried calling his cell. It didn't go. It went straight to voicemail.
All right, let's proceed.
Okay. So, Your Honor, by way of background, again, as I mentioned this morning, this is a review and modification. We are modifying a consent prior order entered by this court in November 2016. That order was Civil Action File number 16-CV-1613. Presumptive child support amount was $2,096.41. The upward deviation was $254, which brought it to the $2,350. Which was our agency recommendation.
And John loves him. One day he told me, he said, Mommy, I love you and I love my daddy.
So he was helping at some point.
This isn't
because I want to make sure, just in case they don't explain it in the other clips. Like I said, he overpaid. And so now she's probably getting less because of that overpayment. But somewhere along the line, she did get whatever that overpayment amount was. And so now they have to correct it. But the payments are also being delayed because it has to go from Georgia to Texas. Remember when I told you guys that the case started in Texas? The child custody case? I mean, not custody. The child support case started in Texas. So the money has to be extracted from Georgia child support, go to Texas, and then Texas pays it out. So she was complaining in the hearing about late payments. The judge tried to explain to her, he's paying on time. It is the chain of custody that's causing the issue with the money being paid out to you. So you would need to contact Texas to find out what it's taking so long in order for them to disperse the payment. But it's not him making the payment, right? And so she does not understand that. Ms. Odom does not understand that process. She is confused. The judge tried to explain it to her numerous different ways, and it just did not work. But as you can see in the previous clip, the worker talked about she notified him he had to be in court. We know for a fact that he got in the mail knowing that he needed to be in court, but he didn't think that he needed to show up and he would be just fine and okay. And of course, you see this judge, she just like breezes right over it. He thinks it's okay because he tells the worker whatever they say the increase is, I'll pay it. So he thinks that means, okay, I don't need to show up in court. He knows if he shows up in court that this is something that the public could have access to and that he might be put on the spot by questions from the judge. This judge is not happy that he's not playing an active role in his child's life. So more than likely, she would be asking him certain questions. But this judge also had the capability of holding him in contempt of court for not showing up. Even though he said he was willing to pay the increase, he's still required to show up by law. She decided not to go that far. And so the judge does have something within her power to try to force him to show up in court, but she did not do anything or act on forcing him to show up in court. She accepts the worker's explanation.
Intergovernmental case, which means he pays Georgia. Once Georgia receives the payment, Georgia sends it to Texas or wherever you are, and then your state distributes it to you. Whenever your state distributes it to you, doesn't have anything to do with us. But if he gets more than 30, if he does not pay within 30 days, if he does not pay in the entire month, that's when he's in trouble. He has paid every single month, which is why he does not have an arrears balance. So when you asked the other day, what's up with your payment? He had made his payment on November 8th. Whether or not you've received it, that's why I said you have to talk to your state, because Texas is in control of when you receive the funds.
Okay, but he's giving
Georgia. I'm sorry.
He's giving to Georgia timely.
Correct. Every single month he is given to Georgia timely, and it's typically between the 1st and the 8th of the month.
Okay, John really believes his dad. This is what he said at 2. He said, "Mommy, I want to go see my daddy." So I dressed him up at 2. He was in Atlanta, and I took him. Do you know Jamal never touched him? Just looked at him.
Now, y'all hear that? She took this boy down to New Birth to the church. And when she took him to the church and took him up and took him to see Jamal, Jamal had no reaction. Now, we just watch him talk about he's touching and blessing this other child. We just listen to him talking about a poor slave to not educate your children and leave them in the hands of the white man. But here you have your biological son that you know is yours. It's DNA test results, which is why you're being ordered to pay support. And you don't feel any need to have any interaction with your son, to be active with him at all. Now, I ain't saying, or I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of controversy over was she right for taking him down to the church and doing that in front of all of the people, and how that could have impacted the child psychologically and all of that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all of that. But nonetheless, the child is there. You're his dad. That's your only son. Why would you not have any interaction with your only son? You said, I gotta be honest, I trust very few people who go on Tasha K. Okay, so this is the thing, Just B. I think we have to watch it and sift through what might be true and what's not, right? What we know for a fact is that child belonged to Jamal Bryant. The DNA confirms that. The child support confirms that. So we know that it's his child. We know that he's been neglecting this child. This is something that before her getting to Tasha K, this has been across multiple platforms. Jamal refuses to address it. Jamal has never had this child in his custody, never had this child in his care. Him nor his new wife, nor his ex-wife, which Giselle, I could see more being not wanting to speak on it because it was a violation of her marriage. Now, he was at the time telling people that he was in the process of getting a divorce. And he really kind of was in the process of getting a divorce at the time. They were in the process, but I think Giselle kind of still was on the fence about it. And she really didn't want to do it. But there are other people that Jamal was telling that to. Is one person I know. Okay. And she is a granddaughter of a very, very, very important funeral home director over here in Baltimore. And so this is what he would tell people, that he was getting a divorce. And publicly, yes, he was getting a divorce. But I think Giselle really did not want to divorce him, but because he just kept on with his womanizing ways, his infidelity and all of that, it kind of left her with no choice for her own self. And so she ended up, so there are certain foundational things that are true about Jamal Bryant that are being told that is the truth in this interview. I ain't saying all of the stuff she's saying is the truth. And that's why I mentioned and I stopped at the thing about the $96, because the $96 is more than likely because he overpaid and she received a lump sum of money ahead of time. And then now they have to correct it. And so that's probably why she got that $96, not because that's what's ordered. He's ordered that $2,300 or whatever. And then the judge let her know that she could get more than the $2,300 once she brought her back the information about enrolling him into this new school, because she needed to enroll him into a special school because of the behavioral issues that he was having due to his autism. So the judge was saying, I can't award you that money for that until he's enrolled and I have all of the documentation to do so. So she told her that, she could come back once she gets him enrolled, and then that amount could be increased. So she might actually be getting a little bit more than the $2,300 now if she's gotten him enrolled into this special school that he needed to be enrolled into. But right here in this court hearing, this last one in 2024, that's what was being awarded. So it's just an adjustment. It's an adjustment from an overpayment. And that's why I wanted to correct that, because if I have some additional information that I know, I don't want to let something be said and I might know something extra because I've either watched some other interviews, I watched what happened in the court, or whatever the case may be. These people, Georgia is saying Jamal pays on time every single month. He's not missing payments. But she has come out here, Odom, the mom, has come out here and said that he doesn't pay at all, or he pays late all the time. And then this impacts her being able to properly care for her child. Well, that's not the truth. It is getting to her late, and they are able to judge, even a judge in this proceeding, because the judge took the time to look at her with her to see and try to make sure she understood and explain to her what is happening. There is a lapse in time from the time that the money gets collected by the state of Georgia, sent over to the state of Texas, and then when Texas sends her the money. It is with that process is what's holding up the payment. So, but my thing is this. I don't know what this, like I said, this lady got some stuff with her. And that's why I'm saying that it might be more advisable that the child be actually in Jamal's care, in his custody, to be honest. I think that he is more capable of possibly providing the environment that this child needs. And then that may also help with some of the behavioral issues, because this little boy is clearly it's been said and other people have attested to that he does ask for his dad. And when you have a father who is such a public figure, I know this lady is probably telling him, like, in my opinion, I think that maybe, and I don't know, some people might feel some type of way about this, but if I knew that he was my kid's father, right, and I knew that that's how he was going to respond, I think that I may just not tell my child that that's their dad. Because when you have a dad who is this public figure and a lot of people know him, but he has nothing to do with you, and then you are constantly this lady, she looks like she is obsessed. I'm sorry, she acts like she's obsessed sometimes. I am not on her side. I'm on the child's side, right? I am not on this lady's side based on some of the things I have seen from her. I'm on the side of the child, but she seems like she might be somewhat a little bit obsessed. She compares herself, I think even in this interview, she compares herself to his new wife and talking about his new wife's body parts not being real, but her being one, what she's real. She's a real woman or something she says in this interview. And so it gives off like a little bit of obsession. And so that baby is probably seeing pictures of him with his the girls, and she probably is watching this man's every move that he makes publicly, and the child is seeing that. And so this is having an impact on that child as well. So this child already has some challenges, but it might be made worse because of his home environment. So that's why I said I think Dr. Mark Lamont,
They had a staring contest.
Doctor,
You mind if I talk to you,
could
baby?
help this situation.
Can you sit down?
Potentially. It's the child, y'all. It's the child.
That's why I don't like kids on my platform.
Remember,
now why Tasha started acting like she was crying like that when that little boy came out, like she ain't know he was about to come out there. See, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't if somebody like Jamal, who uses his platform the way that he does, I would not allow my child to be exploited like this. I would step in and intervene and do whatever I needed to do to get him out of this kind of environment. Like, that's what I'm trying to point out. Like, I'm not saying that either part of the parties are right. This mama nor him. I'm looking at what is happening with this child, and somebody need to intervene for this child. I don't know why Tasha is up there sobbing like she did not know that child was about to come out on that stage.
early on, I said there's no secret that Pastor Jamal Bryant has a lot of children. Okay, so we know that John exists. Now, I never knew how John looked, but now we know. Now, the clips that I showed you from the court case were back in late 2024. If you want to see the full video and have not seen it, I will put it in the description below. Now, there's another clip where they had to go to court again because that judge had to recuse herself from the case due to some things being put out in the public's eye that should not have been put out, like Jamal Bryant's income. And so I will also put that clip in the description. But what I am here to talk about today is the clip that Tasha K has put up. Tasha K released this clip.
Now, look at what this commentator is saying. So the judge that we saw on that 2024 Zoom had to be recused. And she says why she had to be recused. Well, we can surmise that all of that happened as a result of whatever legal things Jamal's legal team put in place because of that. That he was responding to what was placed out to the public. So you have the energy to do that. And this is the issue. You have the energy to deal with the fact that that information, obviously it was inappropriate. She had to recuse herself. But you had the energy to focus in order to do that, but you don't have the energy to do what it takes to get your son away from this dangerous situation. Because I'm not saying that this mother does not love this child, but clearly from some of the stuff that was revealed from that 2024 hearing, she is struggling. She is struggling with that child. Jamal could very well make a sound case for why he needs to have custody of that child and why the child would be better in his care. He could make an easy case for it, right? But then it's these things that she's doing to try to bring some type of public awareness. I just don't feel like, some people might feel like this is, well, what else can she do? I don't feel like this is the good faith effort. This is a good faith effort. I don't. I feel like that there is some malicious intent behind what she's doing. And this child is being used in this situation. And so I feel like that there be somebody neutral enough, not as salacious or controversial like a Tasha K. And that's why I say I think that Dr. Mark Lamont Hill would be the perfect person to champion this conversation, to bring these two, to have a conversation, to try to get some resolve for this young boy. But this lady is definitely obsessed. I don't know. This a mess.
About a week ago, and she stated that she will release the full video on Father's Day. Now, many people have said that Jamal Bryant always celebrates Father's Day and does it in a big way. And I've looked up some clips and noticed that he gets down on Father's Day.
Open up your hand for me, please. Open up your hand for me, please. Thank you.
Look at this.
I need America to see the new model of what we get ready to do. You're going to lay hands on your own son. That whatever you went through, he'll never have to go through. Whatever disappointment you've had, he'll never know about it. I declare and decree, hear me, look at me. I declare and decree, when you lay hands on him, the childhood issue is resolved. The stuff that happened to you as a kid will now be erased.
Now, listen to this, y'all. So where is this type of power with your own child? Why are you not exuding this own power as it relates to your own child? This is the hypocrisy that the people who are looking at this see in this. So while he's saying that he goes live in order for him to be funny and say he's accountable because he platformed Cheyenne, so he feels accountable since his sister has this prominent role, in that field of study, right? And so you feel accountable to come out and talk about what is a troll, because that man is clearly a troll. When are you going to feel accountable to come and speak about your neglect of your child? We are even, so this is somebody we can get clips on having this. We are able to look at this because he gave it to us. He gave us his opinion on what fathers should be and what they should be doing for their children. What is up with him? Why is he not doing it? This is the real conversation piece.
Because it will not be transferred into Trinity's life. I declare it, Kimmy, when Trinity is anointed, your son is being anointed. And here's where I need you to shout. Your son will be anointed even if he don't know his father. Even if his father ain't anointed. Even if his father don't go to church. Come on, let's lay hands on your son. I declare and decree. Open up your mouth that the glory.
That was a wonderful video. And
let me stop right there because Just V, that is what some people have said. But he was like this towards the son before he got the new wife. That's what I'm saying. So even if the new wife, if that is the case, this was his posture towards that little boy before he got the new wife. To my understanding, he has had no interactions with this child since the child was born. I think in the first year, she, in her interview, and I mean, because I know Tasha K, they said that she doesn't, other people, I haven't tried to play her, but they said that she doesn't, I guess has an issue with people playing her content, especially on her behind her paywall and everything. But I did hear snippets and pieces of that interview from her paywall. And one of the things that was mentioned was that I think within the first year of the child being born, that Jamal Bryant has sent some type of game plan. I'm calling it a game plan. That's not what they called it, but has sent some type of game plan in order to like introduce Miss Odom and the child to the public in order to try to integrate them into the program, like with Blueface calls it, integrate them into the program. And I think for some reason Odom was not with it. And so then at that point, it was just no contact. He completely just like abandoned the situation. You said might be too strong a sign that he isn't the man of God that he should be. Christians exactly. Exactly what I'm saying, Just V. Exactly what I'm saying. And so while you are sitting up here and wanting to sell to us and want us to believe that you coming out here to put out this troll message that you received about Cheyenne Bryant because you're accountable, well, where is your accountability to your child, sir? Where is that? She could be too much drama. It's not the kid's fault, though. Right. What I'm saying though is this, Just V. If I believe she is too much drama, I believe exactly that. Based off of her presentation in that 2024 Zoom court hearing, based off some of the other interviews and things that I've witnessed from her, based off of what she did in this Tasha K interview and the stuff that she exposed during that time, I definitely believe that she is a lot of drama. What I think though is that he needs to utilize the courts to try to make sure that he has the proper parameters set up and that he has the proper access to his child to give his child the best that he can. That's what I'm saying. Because he is not speaking in a situation, we don't know all of like how terrible, how much drama she generates. But this child, and especially the child, I would say this, if the child did not have any learning difficulties and did not have any behavioral issues and all of that, right? I would still say the same thing. But especially because this child has all of this, and especially because of how Jamal Bryant speaks about fathers being present in the lives of their Black children. Like, this is not acceptable. This is something you should feel responsible. This is something you should feel that you need to be speaking on. Like, nobody's entitled, and you aren't entitled to have any conversation with anyone about anything you do personally. But when you come out here and you laud all of this accountability surrounding other issues and topics and all of this other stuff, and then you have this very public thing going on, because this is very public. She has been publicly talking about you not wanting anything to do with this child, and you continue to avoid that, and you continue to talk about subjects in the realm of this issue, and you want people to look at you as a voice in this conversation, as someone who can be trusted in this kind of conversation. But then we see different action. It just doesn't add up. You said I'm saying that if he has the kid around, people are always going to remember that he's a big old cheater. That's not the kid's fault, Just V. That's not the kid's fault. And I agree with you though. You heard me when I said that having a child around might not be conducive to how he's trying to present himself to the people. That's why I said that, because you're right. But I think that true, genuine people will see more genuineness in it. If you want to keep around the people who, and I don't know, I think it depends on what kind of people you want to have around you. That's all I'll say. Like, it depends on what kind of people you want around you, because genuine, real people, they aren't going to look at that. Like, church people are very forgiving people. They are very forgiving people. So, but like I said, this is just terrible. To me, it's about the child. It is not about any of the adults. It is about what the child is experiencing as a result of what the child is not getting, because he wants to maintain his status as a public figure so he can keep making those 7 figures. And the mother is going to continue to do what she can do in order to publicly embarrass him, thinking, I don't know if she's thinking that public embarrassment is going to shame him into doing better, but it hasn't at this point. I mean, this boy is somewhere between 7 and 9 years old, I think. If not, I'm assuming between 7 and 9 somewhere. So he's not embarrassed by this. He ignores it. He doesn't talk about it at all. And while people allow him to do stuff like he does in order for him to continue to troll Cheyenne, the comments that he made towards several of the housewives because of things that they had to say about Giselle and her public situation. He does those kinds of things, trolling people behind statements that they have to make about his wife and her BBL and what kind of inappropriate dress. He can respond to all of those things, but he refuses to respond when it comes to the care of his child.
And a lot of people in the comments felt like this video was very inspiring. But for me, I'm not going to say it's not inspiring, but I'd be more inspired if this was Jamal Bryant and his son. And I say that because I've never seen his son at church with him.
You ain't never seen his son with him.
Well, maybe he's not at church with him because mom says that the little boy has autism. She talks about that in the video during the court case. You'd have to go see it for yourself. And I know that as a mom with an autistic son, they can be really sensitive or have sensory issues. There was a point in time where I could not go to church with my child, so I attended services online a lot. And so I was thinking, well, maybe that's the boy's issue.
This woman is being nice. She is doing like I have done sometimes, but that is not why that child, Jamal has nothing to do with that child. Now, I don't know if she's about to say that in the next breath, but Jamal chooses to have nothing to do with this child. He refuses to speak on anything in relation to this child.
And I still can't say that that's not his issue, right? What I can say is I didn't see him in these Christmas photos that they took last year.
Right.
I think it was 2025.
You ain't gonna see him in no kind of photo.
I didn't see him in the photos. It doesn't matter what year it was. Where was this child? And then I thought, well, maybe mom won't let Jamal Bryant see the son. But then I said, well, no. I'm making up excuses for him because with all of the money that Jamal Bryant has, he could easily take her to court and get visitation. The mom's in Texas, Jamal's in Atlanta. That's not super far. And he could see his child as much as he wants, or at least as much as the court allows him, whatever that agreement is. But yet and still, I have not seen this child. So now I'm sitting here saying, well, Jamal Bryant, when you're in church doing all of these things for Father's Day, what is it that you are truly doing for your son? Now, again, I'm not 100% taking mom's side. Please don't misunderstand me. Exactly. I understand how mothers can work when they have children and they're not with the fathers. I get that. But I also know that dads can take moms to court.
Right.
And another thing that I realized in watching
instead of avoiding court.
of Jamal Bryant's court case,
because you don't want to be
is that
on the
Jamal
public record.
Bryant has bread in his pockets, so much so that a judge recused herself from his case because she did something wrong and said something out of order.
Yep.
And I know that was all Jamal Bryant and his attorneys working in his favor.
He put his energy
so
into
if
that.
something like that can happen, how much could truly happen with him trying to see his son as much as possible? I've never even heard the man talk about his son.
Not at all.
I've never even heard the wife talk about his son. But you know what I have heard? Them talk about that dress.
Yep.
So much so that they were on Tamron Hall talk show talking about the dress. And you know what I haven't heard? Jamal Bryant addressed these allegations.
I came to church on Father's Day. Is there any word for me when I can't find my father?
And Pastor Jamal Bryant has been talking about fathers for years. So that's why I expected him to address these allegations. And he still might. I mean, there's still time and room.
Good luck.
The video clip only dropped about a week and a half ago. But I thought he would bring it into his Sunday service in the pulpit like he does everything else. Because when the conversation arose about that dress, he was on it like the next Sunday. Okay? And almost every Sunday after that. I'm just saying. I just thought he was going to move expeditiously. Even if he didn't want to bring it to the pulpit, I thought, okay, well, maybe he'll come on his podcast and talk about it with Let's Be Clear. But he didn't do that either. So I'm just still sitting here waiting to see what he has to say. And before anybody says anything, you know, well, maybe he doesn't want to say anything. It's just allegations.
This is not allegation.
I'm still waiting on him to clear it up.
This ain't
Why?
allegations.
Because of all the questions I had before.
This ain't allegations.
And anytime you get in a pulpit and lay your hands on fathers and sons and children that don't have a father, I am going to expect you to talk about yourself as a dad to all of your children.
So, you know, what is one thing about fatherhood that you love the most? And what are your girls teaching you every day?
My girls are teaching me every day how much I don't know. They're reminding me how brilliant they are. I'm amazingly proud of them. And I am just shocked to see how much intellect they have and how they're above their years. They're way ahead of where I was when I was there.
Somebody probably is thinking the interviewer did not ask him about anybody else but the girls. But you know what a real dad would have done? An active dad, a dad who cares about all of his children, a dad who would think, what if my other kids see this and how would they feel? That type of dad would have said, I actually have 8 children and all of my children are a blessing and all of my children are doing well. He would have mentioned all of his children, not just the 3 girls, but that's the only thing that has been mentioned over and over and over again, because that's where the spotlight is placed on the 3 girls that he had while married. That is strategic. I almost could say that.
Now, I have to stop her there because that's not true. His oldest daughter, Topaz, he's with her a lot. She's at New Birth a lot. And so he does have the same interactions with her that he does have with the girls that he had with Giselle. So that just might be her statement there, might be just because she just doesn't know. But Topaz has been at New Birth. She's done seminars and things, and she's done things exclusively with Jamal at the church. And so that's why I'm saying that this is really really sad what is happening with the son. But you guys, I just wanted to come and talk about that because Just V started some trouble by letting me see that interview. And I just thought while I was watching that interview, you want to know what would be responsible, what would show that you're being accountable? It's for you to sit down with Dr. Mark Lamont Hill and have a conversation about your son and what you plan to do in order to be in his life, rather than you continue to just bring up this woman and what her public embarrassment and shame that she's experiencing right now. Jamal know that that woman didn't have nothing to do with that message coming to him. But he used that as an opportunity for him to be silly, to be funny, to do some. You said that video had me tickled. I didn't know about this child. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, until you're ready to talk about this, don't go on there trolling nobody. Get your ass up over there with your friend, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, and talk about what plans you have to get in your son's life, about that responsibility and accountability. That's what I would like to see happen. That's what I would like to see you do with your time, instead of continuing in order to start up this thing behind this woman and the fact that she's embarrassed from this situation, this whole situation. So you guys, I hope y'all have a great rest of your evening. I just wanted to come on here and have that conversation with you guys really quick. I don't think it was that quick, but we tried to make it as quick as possible. I probably could have gone more. I could have showed more clips. I could have showed more things. But I think I think that what we discussed here, that people understand the picture. They understand the picture. Leave that lady alone. Let this situation die down in peace, and go and address the elephant in the room while you're not taking care of your son. And on that, I love you guys. Y'all have a good day.